those of you that have been following my page for some time, you know I've been talking about that border situation for a while, since 2021, when they reversed all the Trump executive orders. If you go down my page, you'll see 2021, I was documenting what was going on. It was a border crisis in 2021 that Joe Biden never wanted to own that it was a crisis. If you go back and do some research on Google, you'll see that he was even saying that it wasn't a crisis. I mean, he and Kamala Harris were saying it wasn't a crisis. Then finally, he made her the border czar, because he had to come to realization that it was a crisis. Even then, she never addressed it. He never really addressed it.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks, stemming the migration to our southern border.
They just kept letting people come across the border, come across the border, come across the border.
Past Texas, inundated this morning with one of the largest mass illegal crossings we have ever seen at the southern border. Fox News drone images showing a massive line in the river and on U.S. soil as thousands crossed illegally in a span of roughly 2 hours, nonstop.
Hola, ¿de dónde son?
The masses of migrants then waited under the international bridge for processing, a strikingly similar scene to what was seen in Del Rio, Texas, exactly 2 years ago when thousands of Haitians crossed illegally. The mayor of Eagle Pass, a border city of 30,000, has now declared an emergency in his city, and he's stunned by what he saw today. He's now calling on the Biden administration to change course.
This could have been stopped in 2021, but they had no intention of ever stopping this, which is why they reversed Remain in Mexico and all of the other executive orders that Donald Trump signed. The first day in office, Joe Biden overturned every one of Donald Trump's executive order, which stemmed the tide at the border. Go look at it. Go study it for yourself. Don't take hearsay. Go find the information for yourself. Easy to find. Even all the news clippings or the news video reels of them refusing to call it a crisis. Now we're in 2024. It's a full-blown crisis. You have those who were let out of jails in Venezuela and other parts of the world over in this country, foreign nationals in this country, criminals in this country, rapists in this country, sex traffickers in this country. You have all of that going on right now. It never needed to happen. The question I would have is what interest is it of theirs to even let that happen? Why did they let that happen? What is it? What do you think? Why did they let that happen? Now, Kamala Harris, who is running for president, she can't even answer it. She can't answer it, and she's letting it go so far. That's the number one thing that's hurting her right now in her campaign, is that border issue. That's the number one thing. Economy, number two. But the border is people feel less safe. There are people being raped. Fentanyl coming through the border over the last 3-4 years. You're talking about gangs, transnational gangs. The ones she said that she prosecuted, they're in our country. So they were in office. Why did they let that happen? Ask yourself. See, Donald Trump is not as genius, smart, not as great a politician as the Democrats are dumb, y'all. Ask yourself, why did they even let it happen? He wouldn't even have anything to talk about. And then when it comes to that bipartisan border bill, know this. That bipartisan border bill they keep talking about, the reason the Republicans and many Democrats were not for that bill, as a matter of fact, Cory Booker voted against that bill. You know why? Because that bill had in it hundreds of millions of dollars for Ukraine. So if they were intentional about fixing the border, why couldn't they just do a border bill not attached to anything else? No, they went along with the border bill, the Democrats did, Biden and Harris did, because they wanted money for Ukraine. Now go look at it. Study it for yourself. Don't believe what other people are telling you. Just study it for yourself. Why did they let that happen? Ask yourself, would you leave your front door open? at your house? For any reason, would you leave your front door wide open? For any reason, would you leave your front door open? Of course walls work. Of course fences work. Of course doors work. If they would have just left it alone like it was, it would have been all right. Donald Trump started building a wall. Joe Biden came in office. He stopped the building of the wall. Not only that, all the materials and the work people that were doing the work, they were all under contract. So they let the materials go and rot, laying out there. That's a loss of money to the American taxpayers. And then they still have to pay off the contracts. So it would have been more convenient and economically in other ways to just let them go in and build the wall. Since it was already built anyway, and since you already needed it, listen, that area in Texas, that border area, if you have a wall there, then it's going to definitely stem the tide because people are just coming across the Rio Grande into America unchecked. And now there's another caravan on its way. I don't know if you've been watching that, another caravan on its way. Anyway, just let me know what you think about this video. But the bottom line is, it does not make any sense at all that we even talking about this. Why are we even talking about this? This should not even be a subject because they were in office for 4 years. Why did they let this happen? And then you see Anderson Cooper last night at the town hall with Kamala Harris. You see he kept asking her, why did you do something about it sooner?
2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action.
Why did you wait so late? Because they wanted it to happen. My question is, why do you think they wanted that to happen? Why do you think that the Democrats were good with all them people coming into America? If they care so much about democracy, why were they good with letting all those people that were not American citizens come into this country? Hispanics are not voting for Kamala Harris in big numbers this time because they're upset. Many of them came here legally going through the right processes, and they're upset because now you're letting people that did not go through the documentation process come into America, and they're getting free food, free education, free health care. Those who came here the right way had to pay, many of them, immigration lawyers, and they're out $10, $15, $20, $30, $40,000 in immigration costs with lawyers, and they still don't have, many of them, the full citizenship. When you're letting other people just cross the border.
We want to have policies that encourage legal immigration and disincentivize and deter illegal immigration. The problem that we're seeing right now are that the policies that have been put in place by this administration, specifically the regulatory actions aimed at credible fear determinations and at how the immigration courts are supposed to function, do exactly the opposite.
That's why they're losing the Hispanic vote. I'm telling you all, this is a real live show here, man. I wanted to say something else, but it's a real live show that's going on. So don't be fooled by these people. Listen, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I was raised Democrat, and I've been voted Democrat all my life. But this is ridiculous. This never had to happen. And that's why Kamala Harris cannot figure out how to answer these questions, because she was complicit in letting it happen. It is what it is.